The chapter starts with Igris holding off Baruka. Behind Igris Jinwoo arises Kim Chul's shadow. Kim Chul's shadow arises with a grunt. Kim's shadow is much bigger than his human form. Jinwoo names him Tank. Baruka then rushes towards Jinwoo saying that one shadow is not enough to stop him. Tank then uses his skill, Shout of Provocation. This draws Baruka towards Tank, and Baruka is very much excited by this turn of events. Baruka and Tank clashes head-on. Baruka provokes Jinwoo by saying that he won't win just by using Tank. Just then, Jinwoo and Igris also joins the fight. Heejin and Han are perplexed by the fight that's taking place before them. Other hunters are also in a state of awe. Igris drives his sword towards Baruka, but he evades it. While Baruka was evading, Jinwoo came behind him. He stabs Baruka's shoulder and status effect skill, Paralyze and Bleed are activated. But due to high resistance, status effect was nullified. Jinwoo then provokes Baruka by showing that his troops all been wiped out. Enraged by this, Baruka dashes towards Jinwoo. Jinwoo throws his dagger towards Baruka, and uses Commander's Touch to accelerate it. Baruka is surprised by this and tries to stop the dagger. But his dagger gets destroyed in the process. Tank catches Baruka off guard from behind in a bear hold. The Shadow Mages then use a combined fireball spell on Baruka. Boom! A large explosion takes place. But Baruka is still in one piece. And he let out his killing aura with a roar. Jinwoo then unveils himself in front of Baruka after stabbing him. Jinwoo says it's all over with a smile. Baruka grabs Jinwoo's hand and shouts, "He's not finished yet." Tank comes from behind Baruka, and uses his large axe to crush him. And with this, Baruka is defeated. Jinwoo sighs as that was a close battle. After defeating Baruka, the dungeon boss, Jinwoo levels up again. Suddenly Tank once again pounds Baruka using his axe. Jinwoo stops him and thinks he's still stupid. With a dejected look Jinwoo ponders over Tank. Tank turns towards Igris, who sighs and leaves him. Tank then turns towards other shadow soldiers. They flinch for a second, but then Tank raises his hand over their victory, and they also copy it. Jinwoo then tells everyone to let's head back as the gate appears. Everyone is relieved as they can go home. The chapter ends with Jinwoo pondering over what to do with Baruka. The chapter starts with White Tiger Guild's personals still waiting outside the gate. On urges Beck to return home, but Beck insists on staying. The gate starts to open and the hunters are exiting. Beck is inquiring if Kim Chul has managed to pull through. Jinwoo's party members all made it out safely. Just like On envisioned, Beck is astonished as only one B rank and 2 low-level hunters have survived. And Kim didn't make it out. Beck ponders over what happened inside the Red Gate. Jinwoo and Han are ready to leave. But Beck stops Jinwoo as he wanted to know what happened inside the gate. Jinwoo tells Beck to ask the other guild members as he is tired. Beck grabs hold of Jinwoo and says that it was not a request. It was or perhaps even a threat. Beck further adds that he lost 9 members of his guild. Jinwoo without any ounce of fear tells Beck that he managed to save 3 members and Beck should be thankful. Beck apologizes and let them go on. Beck then inquires Heejin on why Jinwoo's in a foul mood. Heejin replies he's been acting like this after shouting something 3 times in front of the dungeon boss's corpse. Beck inquires on why he wasn't able to recruit Jinwoo. He also adds that he will provide the full support and he wants Jinwoo in the White Tiger Guild. The scene then cut to Jinwoo driving. Jinwoo ponders over why he wasn't able to extract Baruka's shadow. But he's glad as he was able to get Baruka's dagger. Jinwoo drops Han to her apartment. Han thanks Jinwoo for everything and assures to meet again next time. Next morning, Jinyo comes to pick up Jinwoo in a taxi. Jinyo is wearing some pieces of armor like a gladiator. On the way Jinwoo tells Jinyo to pick up Han also. They reach her apartment and picks her up. Jinwoo and Han chit-chats about last night's incidents. Jinyo looks with an awkward face over what Jinwoo and Han are chatting. Jinyo ponders over what might have happened last night. Jinyo speaks up saying that Han is not of legal age yet. Jinwoo doesn't have any clue what Jinho's talking about. Jinyo replies that it's nothing. The chapter ends with Jinwoo saying let's move quickly and finish the raid. The chapter starts with Jinwoo's shadow soldiers battling inside a gate. Jinyo is stunned on seeing them. Jinwoo explains it's one of his skills. Jinwoo further adds that they can do all the hunting and busy works. Jinyo in a sober state asks Jinwoo to let him at least pick up the essence stone. On seeing Jinyo, Jinwoo thinks about the raid as this is their last one. The scene shifts to an A-rank dungeon located in the east coast of USA. Inside the gate, all the hunters are knocked down except for one by the name James. James ponders if the guy standing before him is a humanoid beast. Also, the mana emanating from him exceeds the entire dungeon. The guy explains that he's not a magic beast and he only knocked them down as they attacked him. He then says he's Korean and he just wants to go home. Then we see Jinwoo and Jinyo inside a restaurant celebrating their successful raid. Jinwoo asks Jinyo about his future plans. Jinyo replies he's going to take the written exam test for Guild Master's license. And, after that he's going to strike a deal with his father. Jinwoo thinks that he doesn't need to continue this relationship as he has leveled up considerably. Jinyo asks about Jinwoo's future plans. Jinwoo replies that he will be going somewhere for some time. Jinwoo asks if he has become a nuisance. Jinwoo asks Jinyo about his honest opinion of him. Jinyo replies that his older brother doesn't like him very much. Compared to that, Jinwoo is like a brother to him. Jinwoo replies, then he will also think Jinyo is his little brother. Jinyo starts to cry due to joy. Then we see Beck in the news being asked about the Red Gate incident. Beck replies that association has already done the investigation. And, the survivors didn't have any outside help. Beck is then back in his office. He receives a phone call from Min Byung-ji-yu. Min says that he's in Japan and he's got big news. He continues on that there was a call from Japan to the Hunters Association a week ago. And the situation is worse. They wanted to talk to people who participated in the Jeju Island raid. A stunned Beck asks for more explanations. Min tells about the S-ranked gate that opened 4 years back in Jeju Island. But the government gave up on it as all the 3 missions ended up in failure. And even still now that place is swarming with ants. Beck answers it's a nightmare he wants to forget. Min says that a mutation has occurred and the ants can fly now. The chapter ends with a corpse of a flying ant washed up on the shore of Japan. The chapter starts with Jinwoo leaving for a trip. Jinna taunts him saying, when did he got a girlfriend? Jinwoo says he's going with a friend. Jinwoo is then seen standing before the demon castle ready to enter. He opens the gate and enters. He then passes through a hallway. Jinwoo receives a quest to collect 10,000 demon souls. Jinwoo is stunned on seeing the scenes inside the gate. It's a replica of Seoul, but it's fully devastated. Jinwoo presumes there must be at least 10,000 demons inside. He starts attacking the demons who stood in his way. We then see Jinyo meeting with his father to become the master of Yujin Guild. Jinyo shows his raid reports and guild master's license. Jinyo adds that it's risky to entrust guild master position to some strangers. Jinho's father interjects saying there's someone he would like Jinyo to meet, and calls for Go Myungwon of White Tiger's guild. Go is then asked to explain what happened inside the Red Gate. Go confirms that it was due to Jinwoo's involvement that they were able to come out unscathed. Jinyo ponders over the fact that everyone has started to realize Jinwoo's capabilities. Jinho's father adds that he was on the look for skilled hunters. And that's when he heard about Jinwoo. Also, this same person he was looking for was a member of Jinho's strike squad. So as to conclude, Jinwoo was the sole reason for Jinho's success. Jinyo still asks to make him the guild master. His father agrees to let him be the guild master, if he could bring Jinwoo to their guild. Jinyo agrees to it. Jinho's father further adds that he had contacted Cha Hae-in of Hunter's Guild and assured her guild master role. And Hunter Min Byung-ji-yu, who retired due to failing all 3 raids in Jeju Island. Jinho's father thinks over who would be able to recruit the hunters first between him and Jinyo. The chapter ends with Jinwoo standing over a pile of demon corpses. The chapter starts with Jinwoo standing besides the demon corpses, and thinks he cleared the area. He also finds out that it only takes 4 hours to level up in the demon castle. After the meeting with Beck, Jinwoo knew he was only at the level of an S-rank hunter. So, he needs to level up even more. As Jinwoo got the entry permit, he was ready to move to the next floor via divination circle. Jinwoo brought out the Ice Bear leader to reach the divination circle. As he got on Ice Bear, demons blocked their path. Even before Jinwoo could give command, the Ice Bear destroys the demons. Jinwoo names it Tank and orders him to run towards the divination circle. The scene then shifts to USA Hunters Association personals monitoring the Korean guy. They found out his name was Sung Il-won. He got trapped inside the dungeon 10 years ago and, when he got consciousness, he was in the States. The personnel are still suspecting him of being a magic beast. And, they need at least an S-rank hunter to accompany him. The personals have contacted Wong, who's on his way back to States from Korea. And, plans on conducting the interrogation the next day. We then see Wong in a foul mood, as he was unable to kill Jinwoo due to Red Gate. Back inside the demon's castle, Jinwoo has cleared up to 27th floor without any hitch. The demon castles, each floor is separated into different worlds. To reach the next floor one need an entry permit, which appears randomly from a beast. And, only after obtaining an entry permit one could use the divination circle. The divination circle is located in place of Daesung Tower. Thus, it's probably made of 100 floors. Jinwoo is pondering if he could complete 100 floors in 1 week. As the difficulty is increasing each floor, Jinwoo then reached the 50th floor. There he encounters the avaricious Vulcan, ruler of lower floors, and his guards. Jinwoo deduces that he should be the one to defeat Vulcan as he is dangerous. He orders his shadow mages to cast their fireballs. He then conceals himself and orders the shadow soldiers to take care of the rest. The shadow soldiers easily defeat the guards. Jinwoo sets his eye on Vulcan to finish him quickly. But Vulcan suddenly disappears. He appears in front of the shadow soldiers and slams them into the ground. Then he slashes at the remaining shadow soldiers. Enraged by this, Jinwoo leaps in air to punch Vulcan. The chapter ends with Jinwoo's punch connecting Vulcan's jaws. The chapter starts with Vulcan crashing through buildings from Jinwoo's punch. Then only Jinwoo realized he increased his strength stats. Vulcan is unscathed and, he activates his rage skill. Jinwoo was taken back by this skill. Vulcan dashes towards Jinwoo. Also, he has become even faster than before. Sensing that he can't dodge it, Jinwoo calls out Iron for his shields. As soon as he heard it, he threw his shield to Jinwoo. Jinwoo gets it just in the nick of time. Vulcan with his full force smashes Jinwoo. Vulcan continues to pound Jinwoo. The land is in shambles due to attack force of Vulcan. Jinwoo is hanging in there and waiting for the right moment to strike back. At the first sight of an opening, Jinwoo made his counter-attack. But Vulcan predicted this and readied his weapon to take down Jinwoo. Jinwoo realizes his mistake that he can't dodge in midair. Then as a last resort he used Commander's Touch Attack's recoil to evade the attack. Jinwoo ponders on how to defeat Vulcan, as his dagger can only inflict injuries on Vulcan's head. So, he needs a way to slow Vulcan down. Jinwoo's gaze fell on a collapsing building. Jinwoo dashes towards it. Vulcan also followed Jinwoo with his full speed. On reaching the building, Jinwoo accelerated even more to climb it. But Vulcan couldn't control his momentum and crashed the building. Jinwoo then comes down along with the rubbles and slashes Vulcan's neck. The scene then shifts to An and Heejin asking Jinwoo's whereabouts from his neighbors. But nobody knows about him. Heejin then report, she got info from Han that Jinwoo went on a trip. But An confirms that Jinwoo hasn't withdrawn any money and there is no evidence of him leaving the country. Heejin thinks maybe Jinwoo is kidnapped. An replies that one will need a squad of high-ranking hunters to kidnap Jinwoo. The chapter ends with Jinwoo leaping in air to finish off Vulcan. The chapter starts with a dead Vulcan lying on the rubbles. Jinwoo is seen reviewing the rewards he obtained. He got Fragment of World Tree, which can be used to craft magic tools. Demon Monarch's Earring, which have set effects. Orb of Avarice, which increases magic damage twofold. But Jinwoo didn't have any mage-type skill. In the meantime, Ygritte brought the heads of demons he defeated to Jinwoo. Seeing this, Iron brought Vulcan's head to Jinwoo. Jinwoo is flustered with Ygritte and Iron. Jinwoo was thinking that it was he who defeated Vulcan and not Iron. But he did use Iron's shield. This gave Jinwoo an idea. He gave the orb to one of his shadow mages, and ordered to attack the building. The power was more devastating than the normal attack. Jinwoo is seen thinking that the mage hunters would die to get this orb. The scene shifts to Wong interrogating Wan. Wan denies he is a magic beast, and if they want, they can run a DNA test. Wong is adamant on Wong being a magic beast. Wong questions if he died inside the dungeon, and is he part of the undead. Wan denies it. Wong asks, then is it possible to bring back someone who died in dungeon? Wan replied that it is also not possible. Wan then questions, how much about the gates and beasts does Wong knows? Wan further adds that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And, a powerful force has awakened that will bring catastrophic destruction. Wan came to stop this destruction. Wong asks more about this catastrophe. Wan says he can't give any more infos. Wong interjects that there is strength in numbers. Wan answers that it will be a waste to put together a group of mediocre hunters. Wong then compares the photo of Wan and the man in front of him. He looks through the data in front of him and finds something interesting. Wong asks Wan about his kids' names. Wan answers Sungjinwoo and Sungjinwoo. Wong with a smirk is leaking out his murderous aura. Wan with an aura emitting asks what's wrong. Wong declines to answer. This makes Wong say that he will force him to answer. Wong declares Wan is a magic beast and orders everyone to evacuate. Wong says that Jinwoo is dead. With an evil smirk, Wong says that Wan will be able to meet Jinwoo in heaven. The scene then shifts inside the demon castle. We can see a whole horde of undead in an area. They are being commanded by a large skeleton undead. Jinwoo calls forth his shadow soldiers. The shadow soldiers easily decimate the horde of undead without any hitches. This view surprises the undead demon boss. Jinwoo then asks if the undead feel fear. The chapter ends with Jinwoo defeating the undead demon boss. The chapter starts with a scene from the undead area. We can see the corpse of undead demon boss. And, he's called the soul shepherd, Metis. Jinwoo is seen thinking about Metis, as he couldn't turn him into a shadow. This was due to Metis's mana being contaminated. Then Jinwoo reviews the items he obtained. He got spring water from the Forest of Echoes, and Demon Monarch's necklace. The necklace is part of the earring set he obtained earlier. The set now has one more piece left. But Jinwoo already completed the quest to collect 10,000 demon souls. Also, Jinwoo has reached his limit. Then we see him collecting the quest rewards. First reward is that he can choose any item from the shop. Jinwoo chose a cursed random loot box as he can obtain weapons from dungeons. And, earlier he had chosen a blessed random loot box also. The cursed box contained a key, but there was no info of it, so he put it in the inventory. Second reward was a bonus stat of +20. He allocated it to intelligence. Third reward was an undisclosed one. He opened it. It contained the blueprint to craft holy water of life. The scene then shifts to fire brigades putting out fire in the USA Hunters Association building. We can see some personnel saying about the fight between two S-rank hunters. But the main guy confirms that it was a one-sided affair, as Wong was no match for Wan. The scene then shifts to Jinwoo visiting his mom in the hospital. Then we can see about holy water of life. It's a potion that can cure all illnesses. Jinwoo hopes it could cure his mother's illness. To create the potion, he needs 3 items. He already got fragment from the world tree and spring water from the Forest of Echoes. The item he doesn't have is the purified blood of the Demon King. Jinwoo deduces that it might be up there at the top of the demon castle, where the final boss awaits him. So, he needs to clear the demon castle to obtain the ingredient. Jinwoo asks his mother to wait a little longer for the cure. The scene then shifts to Korean Hunters Association office. In the background there is news of the conflict between S-rank hunters in Washington. We can see someone wanting to meet the officer, Young. Jung orders the lady next to him to send the guy to evaluation room after paying the expenses. Seeing the name of applicant, Jung calls back. The chapter ends with the lady showing the way to Jinwoo.